show, viewers, comments and questions live. Dan here.
Mick here, hello.
And Rosie here.
Woof.
Hope you're all amazing. Hope you've all had a lovely weekend. I wasn't going to be here today, but then I thought, you know what? Beautiful people, let's go and say hi.
Well done, Daniel. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being with us on this lovely Monday, or if indeed it is still Monday, wherever you are in the world. I'm going to turn the super chats off now because we have many. I've turned the volume up as well. Loads of people were moaning that it wasn't loud enough last week, so I've turned it up. Let me know if that needs to go up any more, but it should be somewhat better this week. Mute. Good. All right, we'll turn the super chats off. So yes, Dan's supposed to be on vacation this week. What's gone wrong then, mate?
Well, I was at home, and I just thought, after the video last week on the tri-chorus shenanigan, I thought, well, if there are questions, I'd like to be there, and you were going to do it, and I didn't want you to do it without me.
No, I would have just said ask next week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, it's all good.
If you watched Friday's video on the tri-stereo chorus, you may have noticed that I got increasingly annoyed throughout the video with the masking, so I just gave up towards the end.
It was so funny. That was great. I love that.
Right, let's start with a thank you for a thank you. Nice little small card there we had from Martin Judd, who joined us on an experience day at the end of last week and has sent us a lovely card to say thank you. Thank you, Martin. It was great to meet you, buddy. And really just to say thanks to everyone who comes to experience days. We have a lovely time.
We really do.
And large schwang is made.
Yes.
So
yeah. The best, I think, certainly a wonderful part of the day is when they experience what it's like to be in the room when we're recording. And Mick and I have a couple of rigs set up and we make some noises, not just, record level loud, the same volume that we record when we're in here. And the unbounded joy and emotional reaction is superb.
yeah, it's visceral.
It really is wonderful.
On the subject of which some people are talking about going to see various bands this week, such as Oasis, Bonamassa et al. We'll get to them in due course.
Awesome.
Captain
yes.
Sexy 90 is back on. It's been a while. Nice to hear from you. Andrew
Fabulous.
Jones is on. We say thank you to BV for moderating. Thank
Yes,
you, BV.
indeed. Thank you, buddy.
And taking care of everything in the chat. Jason Sears is on. Brian Blaze is on. From Kansas, Michael Giliberto, lots of old friends, Squirrel719, Andrew R, Matty's Blues 1, John Pardo, hey John.
Eagle Ray Rob, Amanda Coons, Brian Carpenter. Lovely. Gordon Rankin, g'day mate.
Backer is on, hey man. Mark Hunter, Mark T, Todd Roy, how are you buddy? Lots of lovely friends. John 777 is on.
Suit Allures, Ian Boggle, Jordan Walker, Airfire Ed, hello mate.
The Irrepressible Music Therapy Laz.
Beautiful man.
How you doing? Nice. It's nice to be among friends, it really is. Tim Mason, Happy Hockey.
Doc News says, don't forget to press record. We've on it.
Red.
I can see the red.
Red line moving. Thank you for the reminders. They are appreciated.
Yeah. I've had a couple of people ask this. Did Gigrig have any hand in the Oasis live setup? No, we didn't. Now, I'm not sure which rig Gem is using. When Gem is playing with High Flame Birds, he uses a rig that I built for him. I think he has a different setup for the Oasis gigs, but we will find out in due course. But the rig that I did for Noel was specifically for a record that he was doing at the time, and not for the Oasis thing. But we'll see what he's... I mean, I know what he's using, and it sounds amazing.
You also know that if you built a floorboard that had that much space in between foot pedals, he'd use your stuff.
Yeah, I know. I know. I got a bone to pick with you. What?
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
But interestingly, so as Dan built a custom rig for Simon Biffy Clyro, where the foot switches are further apart because you just took some foot switches out, didn't you?
Exactly. Yeah.
And there is that requirement for your stadium rocker.
Yes.
To have a little more to aim at
Yep.
as they come flying across the stage. If anyone saw Biffy at Glasgow, you'll understand exactly what we're talking about.
Oh man, just love those guys.
Yeah. Cool. All right, let us stampede then to the super chats after a modicum of housekeeping. First of all, little merch store plug. Check out these lovely etched by laser 10th
Laser.
Laser.
Oh, they're fantastic. Look at that.
They're made by a lovely company in Cornwall.
Yeah. Made in Cornwall. More 10th anniversary merch. Great for holding liquid. And
And pens.
excellent transference device of liquid
I
to
like
gob.
that. It's very good.
There you go.
Was anyone there at Oasis on Friday? I'd be very interested to hear if anyone was there.
All the clips I've seen look and sound fantastic. Really, really top draw.
Yep.
Okay, housekeeping. Patron giveaway. We have a winner. Thank you and congratulations to Chris from Greater Manchester, whose DevTech Dark Side of the Moon DSOTM is on its way to you. Well done,
fantastic.
Chris.
Oh, you'll love that, Chris.
July's giveaway will be announced shortly. We're just waiting from the okay from the manufacturer to give away 2 pedals this month with any luck. And it's a lovely brand that you all love very much. So,
Yes.
yes, and we should acknowledge what has happened in Texas. Our thoughts go out to everybody there for that horrible flooding that has occurred and the loss of life that has occurred. So if you're near there or if you're affected by there, our hearts go out to you.
Indeed, sending lots of love.
Right. Super chats then.
Super chats.
First in this week. Who is first in? It is Ran's there. Ran, how are you, buddy? He says D and M and B and K and R. Greetings. I love the deconstruction episodes. Always epic. Did you go to Oasis or Black Sabbath? Please share with those of us who are too far away.
No, we didn't go, but we are going.
Yeah, we are going to Oasis. Black Sabbath, no, didn't go.
No, didn't go.
Yeah.
A friend of mine went, and amazing.
Mm.
But no, we are definitely going to see our mate, who wants to know what the settings are. Yeah, no, we're definitely, that'll be brilliant. Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah. I'm going to see Teenage Fan Club as well.
Oh, brilliant.
I'm almost looking forward to that more because it's a small venue.
Okay.
And I'm going to reach out to them and see if they'll come on a show.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah. Just massive vintage guitar nerds and vintage amp nerds. And it would be brilliant. But yeah, it's a good time, isn't it, for going to see gigs this summer?
It is.
Because everyone's out on the road.
Yep, that's fabulous. Is that? Did someone mention that Joe of Bonamassashire is around or something?
He's in the UK at the moment.
Cool.
Yeah. No, he's not in the UK. He's on tour in Europe, I think.
Okay.
Austria, the gig that someone has mentioned. I'm sure we'll get there in a minute. Somebody mentioned it. My apologies, I can't find it very quickly. We may get there because I think one of them was a super chat.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay, next in this week will be Wisconi Mike. Wisconi Mike says, "Hey gents, I struggle knowing when to use reverb pre-delay. Is it even needed in wet, dry, wet? Can you help advise on the best practices and starting points?"
That's a really great question. And the use of it in wet, dry. What's interesting in wet, dry is you're already having, if let's say you've got the reverb as your wet sound in one amplifier, dry in another, you've already got the clarity and the response from your dry amplifier. So it is less imperative, shall we say, to have the pre-delay on, Because the pre-delay is just giving you that little bit of space around the note before the reverb and all those delays come in. So yeah, it's very interesting because the pre-delay on lots of reverb pedals, they're all a little bit different, even though they're doing a similar job. But if you look at the pre-delay on like the CXM 978, you can almost get this slap back thing because the way the reverb comes in.
That's exactly what I use it for.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So I'm with you. I'm confused about why you would want pre-delay on a reverb other than exactly what Dan just said, to just stop everything washing quite so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I use it for what Dan just said. I'll have a short room reverb, which is, I have preset 1 on my CXM, and that to me gives that, I keep saying it's the Jimmy at Olympic Studio sound. It's the sort of the room sound that's not anything like a spring reverb and nothing like a plate and nothing like a great modulated hall. It's a sound of a smallish room, and then I will add significant pre-delay to that so it slaps, and that is,
it's so cool.
Is a cool sound.
Very cool sound. And that's gone back on your board.
Yeah, I put it back on.
Yeah.
And it was great. I did a gig on Wednesday night and had it and used it pretty much all night.
Wow.
Outdoor gig, maybe so. Maybe I was looking for.
Ah, yes, of course.
Maybe I was looking for more ambience, but I was using the plates. I got 2 plate settings, 2 and 3, and I just used them a lot.
Amazing.
In the big washy rhythm guitar sounds.
And what were you using rig wise?
Two rocks. And we were doing a whole bunch of 90s stuff, so quite a bit of Oasis and quite a bit of 90s stuff. Brilliant. And quite a lot of that is big guitars playing open chords, and I just found that the plates just really let it sit together nicely. And then, but we did some 80s stuff as well, so like Run To You by Bryan Adams.
Oh, yeah.
Big plate on that, sounds awesome outdoors. But yeah, anyway, sorry, tangent.
Fab.
That's what we use pre-delay for.
Yep.
It can sound, and maybe this is the kernel of your question, it can sound really weird to go bonk back ooh.
Yeah.
That was a technical explanation.
Bonk back ooh.
Yeah. Good. Peter Nash Music. Hello, Peter.
Hello, Peter.
No question, but I'm still shaking after experiencing Bonamassa live in Austria. There you go. It's you, Peter. Yesterday with Josh Smith in the band and Warren Haynes sitting in for a song. Cool.
Fantastic.
Can it get any better? The amps were louder than the PA. I love my life. Yeah, man. It's I suppose as it gets rarer, it's all the more arresting when you do hear it.
Yeah.
And Bonamassa and Josh, they know how to do it as well, right?
Yeah.
They are masters of volume and controlling it. So yeah, good on them. That's nice to hear.
Wonderful.
Did he?
Wonderful.
I'm assuming he had like the epic multi Marshalls and Dumbles and.
That's his thing. You've got to have it.
Just make sure everything is grooving. Apparently we're a bit out of focus. I wonder what's going on there.
Okay.
Let's see if it can see you, Daniel.
Mark T says, I swear I never heard of Oasis until recently. I was way too involved in work from 95 to 05 apparently. Yep. That's how to do it. It was interesting because being in Australia during the whole Britpop thing, I heard and got into Blur first, and then the Oasis songs sort of found their way through. It was just an absolute gold-covered moment in time, all that stuff. It's all songs.
Yeah. I feel very lucky to have been 16 in 1990.
Oh, that's nice.
When, the G&R turn up, ushering out what was before.
In spectacular fashion.
And that gives birth, in a way, what comes next is Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. And then on the back of that comes
Britpop.
Yeah. And it's like, what a fertile I guess, 10 years of guitar front and center song driven music.
So here's a question then, because I'm seeing it, you know, Oasis being all over the news, and you know, it was the fastest selling most tickets like ever, and in the UK, and people are saying that this is going to usher in a whole new guitar thing.
Well, they did it last time, didn't they? I think the Britpop, and I appreciate that quite a lot of those artists get a bit annoyed with that term, but we'll use it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
The Britpop generation, and Oasis in particular, absolutely birthed what I would call the modern gear industry.
Yeah, right.
Of, you know, really, really, or at least they were at the same time as good quality guitars out of the Far East, which you could afford.
Mm-hmm.
And there was just this massive explosion in popular culture of playing the guitar. Funnily enough, the bass player at the gig on Wednesday night, he was the big successful editor of Total Guitar.
Oh, wow.
When it went through its...
Oh, that's right. You did the guitar, the
future thing.
The future thing. Amazing.
But Tim Tucker, who's a bass player who played bass that night, he was... Oh, I know what that is. He is... He had the huge success with Total Guitar when it overtook Guitarist and when it went really massive.
Right.
And we were just reflecting on all of that. So I think you may be right. You know, kids looking at that going, "Wow, that's pretty cool."
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, would be good, wouldn't it?
Would be nice. Where'd you?
Johnny T says you missed out indie mix, Stone Roses, and all that. Yeah, I think that is an important. Thank you for that, Johnny T. That is an important stepping stone. But I kind of lump that in with the British movement thing.
Yeah.
Even though I appreciate that it's somewhat left of that.
Stone Roses didn't really make it big in Australia, but I remember hearing John Squire's guitar sound for the first time.
Yeah, just an amazing guitar sound.
Oh my word. And funnily enough, I did some work for his old guitar tech many years ago when he was working for Simple Minds and Charlie Birchall.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because I'm like, I was speaking to him about, you know, Charlie's rig and what we're doing, and we're talking about guitar sounds, and I said, oh, I would love to find out about how Chris Squire got his guitar sound. I said, I'd love to talk to his tech. And he goes...
John Squire.
Sorry, John Squire. I'd love to find out how John Squire did his thing. I'd love to talk to his tech. And he goes, that would be me. That was really amazing. And a lot of it was... Wet dry. Leslie on one side on the slowest possible thing, basically on the whole time.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. And lots of people coming in saying what came after Britpop as well. Yeah, for sure, because there was a lot of heavy music that came after that as well. The sort of new metal revival and all that. It was an absolute diamond run of guitar.
Yeah.
In
really wonderful.
The centre of a lot of new music. So I'm getting 58 trillion million messages in from various sources telling me things about the stream. Apparently we might have an issue with bitrate, which is why it looks out of focus.
Oh, okay.
Stick with us, folks. Apologies.
Tony Vardy says, you need Charlie Birchall on the show. I should get hold of Charlie and say, hey, you said you would. It's time. What a beautiful guy.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, he's so great.
Great.
Judas Priest. Richard Pribanow saying, best gig I've been to, Judas Priest, Defenders of the Faith. Awesome.
I remember having a bit of a falling out with Judas Priest at Guitarist magazine. Not my fault, I hasten to add. And KK Downing phoned up one day to yell down the phone at us. I'm not going to tell any more about that story.
Awesome.
Jason Sears. Hey, Jason. He says, humble suggestions for shows. Thank you. We appreciate the suggestions for shows. He says, since electric guitar is an ecosystem, how about, number one, best pedals for pickup type? For example, humbucker single coils and P90s. And two, best pedals for amp type, Fender, Vox and Marshall. It's really interesting that I think the best pedals for amp type Fender, Vox and Marshall, we sort of skirt around that every time we plug a pedal into an amp. But maybe there's a reductive version of it that could because that mine and Dan's view on that is you can plug any pedal into any amp. It's just about how you play and how you set it up. And really, it comes back to all the fundamentals of everything we always talk about, which is gain staging, headroom, compression, pick sensitivity. It's all those things. So it doesn't matter what guitar, what pedal and what amp, what you're dealing with is some combination of all of those things.
Yeah.
Add EQ, I guess.
Yep.
Pickups is very interesting. We've talked about doing it, but there's so much variation. Like, so if you talk about humbucker,
Yes.
do you mean a 7.6K PAF
Yeah.
or do you mean a 22K head
See what I can
nailer, or
invade.
whatever they're called?
Yeah.
But there's definitely a question to ask there, so thank you for the suggestions. And maybe we can draw some brackets around it, as it were.
Seymour Duncan needs to do like a humbucker called Immortan Joe after the Mad Max.
Oh, really?
Because I just think he looks like a really nasty humbucker sound. They're a Marshall gone wrong.
I'll take a screen grab of that, Jason, and make sure we come back to it. Thank you very much for the suggestions. Brian Blaze. Hello, Brian. I'm not sure we've heard from you before, so thank you. Or at least I don't recognise the name. Brian Blaze says, hello from Kansas. Are you familiar with Samantha Fish? I think she would be a very interesting guest. I'm sure she's a big pedal fan. I'm 62 and started Guitar Journey 2 years ago. Thanks from Brian.
I have reached out. I haven't heard back. But she would be fantastic on the show. Like, wonderful guitar player, great performer, and sounds really great. Would love to have her on the show. So
Nice.
if any of you know Samantha, and for whatever reason my communications never got through,
Spam folder.
or they did, and she went, nah,
Forget it. Those idiots.
those idiots. Would love to have her on the show.
I'd rather just have another day off. Thank you. Thanks, Brian. Thanks. And 62, 2 years in, welcome. It's good fun. You know that already. Michael Giliberto. Hey, Michael.
Hey,
great to
buddy.
hear from you. Hope you're doing well, mate, as well. He says, hi, D&M and all chatters. In honour of your 10th anniversary, I've been watching many of the earliest episodes. How have your thoughts about making music changed? Using gear, musical approaches, and all of that? Great question.
Great question. So, a couple of things to remember. Since we started, we've had the world has turned on its head, and we've had pandemics and nonsense, and lots of things have changed. And I also, when we first started, we were both playing a lot more. Now, one thing that's changed for me is, you know, life gets very busy and we all have responsibilities and looking after family and businesses and all that sort of stuff. I now understand more than ever the importance of getting out there and doing it and making music in whatever capacity, because it's the thing we stay alive for. And because I've never had a period away from it like I've had in these past few years, after being so busy for so long, I just thought, oh, you know what, this would be nice. No, I'm not into it. I'm so got the new band together. I've done the EP. That's all happening. So I just to say, I've always loved it, but now I appreciate the value of it and how important it is. I actually genuinely believe it is so incredibly important.
To play.
To play, but to be creative, to be inspired, and to let music take you in a direction and for a part of your life. You know, going out to see music and being involved and just, man, when you do it a lot and it becomes your job, then it can be challenging to keep that enthusiasm. But try having some time away from it, like an extended period away, and it's like, oh boy. It's what it brings to your life, and it just can't be, you can't put a price on it. So yeah, that's the difference. And I don't take any opportunity to play guitar for granted anymore. Even though just that 6 a.m. getting up and playing for a bit, I just, I value it greatly.
I've really learned what sounds good. I've learned a lot about EQ, not necessarily for guitar, but things like voices, bass, kick drums, guitar too, obviously, but
it doesn't live in isolation.
I've actually become reasonably competent at small scale front of house.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I enjoy greatly. Because for me, I really love the playing. Don't get me wrong, I love that part of it. But what I love most actually, is the camaraderie of the group. And the being togetherness. I've hooked up with some old friends just recently in 3 different directions, and
have you enjoyed our new direction?
Yeah, and it's been really, really moving and good for the soul to do all of that. And playing the music has almost become the least important part of the whole game, even though that's why we're all together and it's great when it's in the moment. So number 1 being with the people, number 2 having a communication with an audience, however small, that they're feeling something. And all the gigs we've done have had a cause in mind, and that has definitely been the case, and everyone has felt something. And then after all of that, I really enjoy trying to sound good.
Yeah.
And trying to get the band to sound good and together and cohesive. And that's one of the main things I've learned since we started doing TPS. I knew a bit about that before, but I know quite a bit more about it now. And being able to just balance up a band and sound nice.
Awesome.
Be confident in playing. I'm a more confident player now than I was back then. I don't take it as seriously.
Yeah, good.
Once you're on stage.
Yeah, okay, that's good.
Before all of that, in the run up to these gigs, I've never suffered with anxiety or anything approaching it, but I had 2 borderline panic attacks, one on one gig and one on the previous gig. Nothing to do with playing, nothing to do with nervousness about... I've never ever been nervous at a gig.
Right.
To do with the admin of, have I got all the gear I need? Is the car packed right? Am I going to get there on time? The admin spins me out.
Oh, okay.
It's really, really weird. It's almost like I've got admin PTSD.
Yeah. Is that admin, or is that practical tech stuff? I guess it is admin.
It's not practical tech stuff, because what happens is, about a day before the gig, my phone starts blowing up with,
Right.
have you got this? Have you got that? Can I borrow this? Will you do that for me?
Because you're the guy.
Because I'm the guy.
You are the guy.
Can you blah, blah, blah. Oh, I don't have a bass amp. That didn't happen. It's just an example. But and I don't mind doing that. I like helping because, I sort of made it my job to help. And then what's the set list? The thing that spins me out more than anything is what's the set list. And because I'm often the singer, it's kind of got to be vetoed by me.
Yeah.
And it's that stuff that completely spins me out. So having said I don't take it that seriously, once the gig starts happening and we're playing, I'm free.
You're right.
And I love it.
Yeah.
And I wish it would go on for weeks.
Yeah.
But all the rubbish beforehand is... I can feel it now.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. I think that's why I haven't done more band stuff over the years. Because all that band stuff
is a lot.
Is the stuff that freaks me out. It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't use the term OCD lightly because I don't think I have OCD.
I think you've been brushed by OCD.
But if I walk in here and someone's put a gig bag where I don't want to see it, it sends me into a spin.
Right.
Because I'm like, why have you put that gig bag there?
Yeah.
Put it somewhere where it's not in front of a door. Or, And it's stuff like that. And I can watch myself doing it going, oh my God, what is wrong with you? And like if someone's amp isn't facing the right way, you know?
I don't think I've ever set up anything in here. I've gone away and come back and it hasn't been moved slightly.
Yeah. And it's ridiculous. I get that it's completely ridiculous. But anyway, sorry, that was a massive tangent.
It's good.
I like
Logistics, says the feel button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The spirit of not taking it quite so seriously is important, I think.
One thing that I don't know why, but I got better at it, but I'm still not great at it, is taking enough power to gigs.
Yeah.
IC cables and four-ways and stuff.
I can tell you now that there's 3 four-ways of differing lengths in the little compartment of my car.
Oh, that's good.
There is a microphone,
There's no spare wheel, but there are 3 different lengths
Modern
of...
cars don't have spare wheels, do they? There's a microphone, spare mic, vocal mic in my central reservation in the car.
Nice.
There's a emergency tube screamer in the glove box. There's a spare iPad stand.
Are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious. There's a spare iPad stand in the boot of the car.
That's great.
It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. Anyway, Michael, thank you for the thing. I think one final thing I would say, and I apologise for the long answer. One thing I'm never ever going to do again, as long as I live, is sit there and track music, like program drums, play bass, play 8 rhythm guitar parts. I'm never doing that again.
Okay.
I think the way to do it is to get a bass player, drummer, and 1 rhythm instrument in a room and put the beds of the tracks down.
Yep.
That's one very boring, prosaic, practical thing I would say, because then it feels good.
I remember doing the first Tin Spirits album, and we were setting up to get bass and drums to go down together, but we'd all set up and we basically did a play along and went in and had a listen to it. There is something about tracking live.
100%. For the important caveat is for the kind of music I'm talking about.
Yeah. But there's a different vibe. I'll never forget that. Going there going, well, it doesn't sound polished and perfectly produced, but it sounds amazing. It sounds like a band.
Yeah.
Just being yelled at by the singer the whole time. It was great.
Simon Mastro Matteo, nice to hear from you, Simon.
Yeah, hey,
been
Simon.
a while.
Yeah.
He says, idea for a show, I'd like you to compare high headroom amp like a 2-rock versus a low headroom amp like a Princeton, but running the latter through a Fryette and bringing the volume back up as loud as the 2-rock. Okay, we've done almost exactly that.
Yeah.
In 2 shows on attenuators. One is attenuator, make quieter. One is attenuator, reamper, make louder. And what you're talking about, we've done.
Fascinating.
Really, really fascinating. Really, really fascinating.
Yeah.
The spoiler, I would never use an attenuator on a big amp.
No.
I would always get a tiny amp and put it through the Fryette.
Other spoiler, tiny amp, Fryette. Unreal.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Yeah. Good. Right. Sorry, we are going really slow for all the tangents. Squirrel 719. Squirrel 719 says, "Happy 777 day, all. The 7th of the 7th.
2007.
2 and 5.
Oh,
7.
7, very good.
I don't think I follow. What's 2 and 2 plus 5?
25.
Oh, I see. Yeah, there we go. I'm a long-time Uber fan of the Ibanez Gem and Universe series. Dan, was your old Gem a 777 maple fingerboard with pyramids, or a 777V with rosewood and vine?
777V. It was desert yellow. but we had the vine and the rosewood.
Wow.
Yep.
That's very cool. Squirrel would like to see some pictures of you with that.
I have pictures. Let me find said pictures.
You find them. When you do, I'll have to switch the camera back onto autofocus. I put it on manual focus so it doesn't
Oh, okay. Well done.
muck about. Andrew R says, hello gents, I was watching Dan's new board build and I noticed he's got an H9, an Eventide H9. I thought analog dry-through was a TPS must, and as a result the H9 wouldn't work. Just wondering how you avoid phase issues working it into the rig.
So you need to watch the video, but I only ever use it in one side of the rig, and I only use it for harmonies, and in that context it works great.
Kill dry.
It has a kill dry in it, so it's only ever wet. The other thing though, if I ever want to use it like that, G3 enables me to put a parallel line around it. So if I'm only using one amplifier, I kill dry, I put it in a parallel section, so I split it before, goes through that and the dry signal, sum them back up afterwards, and then into one amplifier. But at the moment, I'm just using it, still kill dry, but I'm just using it wet into one amplifier just for harmonies. And it's great. It's an interest. The H9 is a really interesting thing because it does have a sound I cannot do without analog dry through. So I do that in G3 and the wet dry thing. But I think the H9, the H90 is an amazing piece of technical thing. The H9 has a sound about it that I know a lot of players really dig. But yeah, the analog dry through is absolute must. But there are shenanigans afoot in G3 that enable me to do that.
There we are. Thomas Eichinger. Hey Thomas, good to hear from you. He says, hello, your honours. After a weekend with 2 gigs with very loud amps, I saw yesterday Simon McBride, the Warren Haynes Band, and Joe Bonamassa live at an Austrian festival. What players they are!
Amazing.
Yeah, that's a pretty serious guitar day, isn't it?
Amazing. Yeah, so good.
Pretty serious guitar day. Thomas says, please take one from the chat, so we will. I'm just looking for a question mark. Come on. Right, Zach Daniels. Hey Zach. He says, how do you feel about dummy coils? Does it change the tone of the pickups too much, or a great solution to the single coil hum problem? The only person I know who uses one is Thomas Blug.
Oh, wow, okay.
And his 61 Strat famously has a dummy coil in it. And if you don't know what a dummy coil is, it's a pickup with the magnets removed, basically. Mm-hmm. And what you do is you use the secondary coil to be RWRP and therefore buck hum. But because the magnets aren't in it, it doesn't affect the tone too much. Thomas has a switch to switch it in and out, which would suggest it does affect the tone. But as with all of these things, it's, you weigh it up, don't you? How much is the change in tone, because I don't want to say loss of tone, how much is the change of tone a problem vis-a-vis solving the problem of single coil noise? So there are other solutions. I don't know what John Sear's solution is. It's something to do with a back plate or something.
Yeah, they have the coil in the back plate.
Okay, so that is essentially a dummy coil, but done a different way.
Yeah,
it's not a dummy pickup coil, but
it's a dummy. It's still the hum cancelling shenanigan.
And then there are obviously hum cancelling pickups themselves. So there's a number of ways around it. I guess try it. Single coil hum is a real pain. If you play on big stages and you've got lights and all those kinds of things, I think it was way worse with old-fashioned lights, but it's still bad with LEDs. Mm. And if you have to stand in a certain position, it can be just, brutal. And then you can add in all the other stuff of a modern media production, screens, Wi-Fi, wireless, all of that. I'm sure that all contributes to the noisiness of single coils.
I found it!
At the kind of gigs I play at, it makes no difference because I'm on small stages with crappy lights and I can just move around enough. So, all right, okay, we'll just stop. Dan,
I found it. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh boy, oh boy. Hang on a second. Let me download this.
So yeah, does it change the tone? I would suggest that Thomas has got it on a switch. Yes, it does. Yeah, and one person's small noise is another person's terrifying hum. So I guess you should try it. It certainly works. Put it that way. Here we go then. Here's Dan. Oh my God.
Okay, here we go. Let me try and get this.
You won't be able to focus like very close. That's astonishing. There he is.
Isn't that great?
Absolute full-on vipos as well.
Oh yeah, man. I had it going on
That's really cool.
before the weight of the world crushed my spirit.
For a given value of cool. That's amazing, mate. Are you actually topless there, or is it just not showing the t-shirt very well?
Oh no, I've got a jacket on
Oh, right.
and a shirt.
Awesome.
Yeah,
How long did you
that's
keep the
so
gem
funny.
for?
A few years.
Yeah.
Until the fretboard started coming off it.
What was that?
It was in Mackay and it was like 40 degrees.
I suppose, yeah, it is Australia.
It just went,
Boop.
I came out of it one day, it just got lifted up. And we had this real scam artist in Mackay. Horrible human. And he charged me like 200 quid just to glue it back down. I didn't know what I was doing, and it was my dream guitar, and I was paid the money. But now I'm like, you're just evil. But anyway,
Nasty man.
that's.
And did you
nasty
trade
man.
it for something, sell it?
I traded that in for the top of the line Pacifica.
Oh, okay.
I never got on with the flatter fretboard
Yeah.
on it.
16, isn't it, on a gem?
Yeah,
Up the top, it's 16 maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know what about down the bottom. Gem fans, let us know.
yeah. And it has a great guitar. But the Pacifica has something about it that I really dug. And then
Squirrel, let us know what the fingerboard radius of a gem is.
it was what after that? Then it was yes. Then I traded the Pacifica in for my first Strat, which was the Strat Plus. No. Yes, it was. It was Strat Plus. It had the ball bearing nut and the
La 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 la.
it's a great guitar with the lace sensor pickups. They sounded great. Well, considering where I'd come from, no, it was fun.
To be fair, Jeff Beck used that nut.
Yeah, and those pickups.
Yeah, it's all cobble, isn't it? Matt Swanton says it's probably 14-inch radius. Oh, 12 to 16, says David Tompkins. Yeah, so pretty flat anyway. Pretty flat by the sounds of things. Thomas, Matty's Blues. Hey, Matty, how you doing? He's talking of Australia. In Australia, he says, my son Declan and I look forward to TPS. He plays bass and we jam regularly. Can you please give my little man a shout out as he turns 16 this Friday, and would be thrilled to hear from Mick and Dan. Lots of love. Absolutely. Declan, happy birthday for Friday, mate.
Happy birthday, Declan.
Hope you have a good day. If you don't know it already and you play bass, I want you to learn a bass line for us. It's from the Jam.
Sorry.
It's a town called Malice, and it's a great riff, and you can play it with a pick, right? Or you can play it with fingers if you want. But what's really nice, when it goes to the verse, it pedals an F sharp, and then it plays a melody over the top, or a counter melody. It's a cool bass line. I think it's got a bit of everything in it. It's got good rhythmic control, and it's the the pedal and the counter melody is kind of unusual
He played that on a Ricky, is that right?
I think so. I think so.
They were so cool.
What a great band. So there you go. You might already know it, Declan, but in any way, that's your homework for your 16th birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, mate.
Baka! Hey, Baka!
Baka!
He says, leg ends. What are your biggest takeaways going from noodling at home to playing live gigs? Asking for a friend. Doing wedding gigs. Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. Or actually, it could be Jacob, couldn't it? Jacob. Thank you, Jacob. Noodling at... Right, so you what you're saying is you do most of your noodling at home and now you're going to be playing a live gig. What are your biggest takeaways? Please, please, please go somewhere very soon and play loud.
Yep.
Louder, you know.
Because you'll be stunned at the volume that you need to play at when you're doing a proper gig.
Depending on what the rig's going to be, of course.
Yeah, even so, even if it's the same rig, but you need to be louder because you will, because you're going to have people there.
Yeah.
I find that, like, sat at home noodling, it's all great. Soon as you stood up and there's volume, I may as well have not practiced.
Yeah.
It is such a different
it's a wildly
world.
different world. And not to put you off, but there's a great deal of variables in it as well. And it can change from night to night. That's one of the great things about playing a lot, because you do start to chill out about those things. And you can sort of trust your instincts a bit more. But it depends. Whatever gear you're going to be using at the gig, try and get familiar with that in the environment that you're going to be using it, or at the volume you're going to be using it. So if you are using an amp, like Dan says, you do need to turn it up and get a feel for what's going to happen when you do it.
Yeah.
If you're using like a digital solution and you're on in-ears, Freddie, who lent us the Ampeg. Hey Fred, hope you're doing well, bud. He plays in a couple of wedding bands, one bass, one guitar, and they're both silent stages, and they're both ears.
Right.
And that is a fundamentally different experience than having a loud amp and a speaker and being next to a live kit and a drummer. So we appreciate that both approaches get used. So whichever one it is, or whatever the band setup is, try and do as much of it as you can. Because if you just go from noodling at home to doing the gig, it's going to feel so alien. You're going to be in a completely different mind space for the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's odd.
Yeah.
It can be odd.
The best players play, and like Joe Bonamassa, the reason he's so good is he's practicing when he's playing. He's so used to that gig thing. I remember seeing Richie Sambora in 1988 or 89, and there are a few better live guitar players I've ever seen in my life, and they had been on tour for 3 years, just every night, just nailing it. And so you need to get used to what it's playing like in that environment. Super, super important.
There you go.
I hope that's helpful.
There you go. It might sound a bit like you might think your bandmates might think badly of you or whatever, but just a few minutes before the performance, take a minute to go somewhere quietly and breathe, and just do that. Get yourself sort of centered. I do it for every gig, regardless. And any of that pre-gig mucking about, you're probably talking to people, you're probably, I don't know, wash your hands as well, just don't have greasy hands and things like that. And just spend 5 minutes breathing and getting the breath from here, which is where it will be in a moment of higher stress. Get it down here again. So you're breathing deeply, you're breathing fully, and your sort of pulses return to a relatively normal level.
Yeah.
If you feel any anxiety or nervousness at all, then do that. That will help you think straight. It will help you play better. It will just help. And that's not just guitar. That goes for anything.
That's right.
Simon Williams says, stop practicing and rehearse. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to do both.
Yeah.
And we could talk about the difference between the two, but I think what we could say is one is learning and one is routining, perhaps.
Oh, that's good.
And they're two separate functions.
Yeah. When you're... yeah, that's a really good point, actually. If I'm practicing at home, I'm playing stuff I haven't played before, trying to get my head around it. But if I'm at the gig, I'm not thinking of any of that stuff. I'm... stuff that I'm really familiar with. Not that, but you know what I mean. I'm not going out... That ain't happening. I'll gladly do it here in front of 600 people, but not at a gig.
Yeah. Jono Morley. Hello, Jono. Jono Morley says, hi, both. I've started gigging again.
Oh, good man. It's important. People, it's important work. It really is.
It's public service.
It is. Get out there.
I'm finding my Victory V50 and 212 heavy and large for the pubs. Is the AC10 an option, or is the AC15 minimum for gigs? I tend to use drive from pedals rather than the amp. It really depends on your band.
Yeah.
But, you know, the V50 shouldn't be too heavy. It's a head, right? Why not get a 112 cab? Or try Neos in the 212.
Yeah.
Sorry if that's too much jargon. Neodymium magnet speakers instead of ceramic magnet speakers. They're half the weight, if that.
Yeah. The good thing about a 2x12 cab, just they can feel nice and big on stage. And if that's your only amp, it's nice. Don't get me wrong, 1x12 sound fantastic. My Matchbox 1x12 is heavenly. But I would have thought that was a really cool sound if you're gigging.
And weirdly, like, I mean, an AC10 is an option if you mic it up and you've got a way of hearing it back through some sort of monitoring, and it goes over the PA, and you have a sound professional to make sure that happens. Then yeah, and it might be that you play in a band where the drummer is super quiet, in which case an AC10 would be fine. So it really does depend on the volume of the band. I mean, all of the bands, the 3 bands that I've played in over the last month, have all had absolute hitters.
Awesome.
Like,
and you got
absolute hitters.
Yep. But that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that.
So no, an AC15 literally would be inaudible in that environment.
Yeah.
An AC10, sorry.
Yeah.
Dan's AC10 Twin, maybe not so much, because that is a bonkers amp.
It's a silly amp.
Or to be fairer to it, it would be audible, but you wouldn't have any dynamic range.
Yeah, you'd hear it.
And it would be, you know, if you're hammering away rhythm chords, it could well just be perfect.
Yeah.
But if you want to take any leads or play anything with any sort of grace, you know, where you aren't hitting the guitar very hard and you've got to play something quite delicate, that will be inaudible over a heavy drummer. So, but every time I say something like that, loads of people tell me that heavy drummers and loud bands don't exist anymore. I beg to differ.
They really do.
All the gigs I did
really
are
do.
loud gigs, and I didn't have... Actually, sound check on Wednesday, bless him, he came out and we were like, how's it for you? And he said, I'll be honest, it's a bit guitar heavy. And we said, sure, no worries, and just down a little bit. And that's what he said. He didn't say, you know, he didn't have a cow or anything. He just said, it's a bit guitar heavy.
Yeah.
And I was like, fair enough.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. He said, the vocals are as loud as they can go.
Right.
And with that qualifying statement,
there you go.
It's like, okay,
there you go.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
If we can't get the vocals up anymore, the guitars have got to come down. But the other two, neither sound engineer said anything about 100-watt Marshall breathing and my 50-watt 2-rock.
Important.
And the 100-watt 2-rock and a 50-watt 2-rock.
Important work.
Nobody said a word.
Yeah.
So it absolutely still happens. They were outdoors, I would just say.
Yeah.
You know, but
shout out to Nick Granville, who's joined us.
Hey,
He says
Nick.
it's 4:50 a.m. in New Zealand, finally made a live stream. I love Nick's playing.
Bless
Amazing guitar player. And he's a proper, he reads and everything. He's really clever. But yeah, I've seen quite a few of his videos where he's doing his thing, and it's really cool. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Good to see you on here,
hope
buddy.
you well, buddy. So I would say, Jono, before you go and spend a load of money on a new amp, why don't you try a 112, see if it'll work for you. I love that head and cab thing. It's
Yeah.
easier to pack in the car, and each thing by itself is much lighter than a whole combo. So I think from a transport point of view, it makes sense. And have a think about neodymium speakers, because they are considerably less weighty, and yeah, Celestia makes a really good range of them. So
Gordon Rankin says, I always play small drums because I play really loud, and that puts it more in a perspective. 12-inch snare, 12-inch mounted tom, 14 floor, 22 bass. I didn't know you played drums, Gordon. That's awesome. That's why you're so freaking cool. And yeah, I'm just here going, I'd love to be able to play drums.
yeah, me too.
You can play. You've got groove. I have excited Dan on drums. That's not something anyone wants to hear.
I can 8 bars. I can groove for 8 bars. After that, it all goes to. Yeah. Lots of people saying they play loud. Good. Because it must be so. Mark Hunter. Hello, Mark.
Hello,
He says,
Mark.
I recently visited Norman's Rare Guitars and unexpectedly came home with a 65 Fender Mustang.
Yeah, you
I
did.
never thought I was a Mustang guy, but it is truly glorious sounding. What are your thoughts on vintage Mustang?
Yeah, fabulous guitars, and also that version of the basses, the smaller basses, amazing.
So cool. Paddy just bought one, I think, or he bought one a while back. He sent me a little video. Paddy Blight, who plays in the Danalogs and also plays in TPS Band. He's just bought one, and it is a sound unto itself.
Yeah, remarkable.
So cool. I did a video with Andertons on some new offsets coming out of Japan, one of which was a Mustang, and hands up, I don't know what to do with offsets. So it from my end at least, it's a bit ropey, because they're so, I'm not saying I don't like them, I'm saying I've got no idea what to do with them, because everything about the resonance, the attack, the decay, or everything about it is so different from the guitars I normally play.
Yeah.
But the Mustang was the guitar I liked the most, and I managed to play that one okay. Really, really cool. 24-inch scale, those weird sort of covered single coil pickups.
Yeah, but they're cool. There's something about them that's cool.
Yeah.
I could see Jack White ripping something up on a Mustang.
Yeah, groovy machines.
Yeah.
Really groovy machines. Nice, congratulations. Let's see what's happening. Glenn Michael Thompson says, I'm really stoked with my new Celestion 250 Neo Copperback 12-inch. There you go.
Awesome.
So there's a Neo speaker, 250 Neo Copperback, coming in highly rated from Glenn Michael Thompson there. Simon VRDJ, hey Simon, hope you're well, bud. He's saying tickets are actually available for the Danalogs in the Vic in Swindon at the end of this month. Hint, hint.
Bless you.
On the
Thank you,
31st of July, the Vic in Swindon.
Yeah.
If you go onto Dan's Instagram, you'll see the ticket link.
Yes. So, and I've been hauled over the coals for making it's a composite poster.
Oh, I did wonder about this.
Yes. And
Who has hauled you over the coals?
Oh, just various persons.
Because of what we think.
Because of what we think.
Because of that thing.
Because no.
Oh,
because
not
this
that
is a
thing.
separate thing.
Ah.
This is because I did the poster. Because the band has only ever been in a room together.
Yeah.
I was either going to be a poster of a picture of me, no thanks, or a thing I put together of the band. And I was like, well, it's our first gig.
And is it the band who's not happy with the poster?
No, the band like it.
Right.
No, it's
Who doesn't like it then?
people online have said, I don't like this
Why?
because it's somewhat done with AI.
Oh, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought you meant.
Yeah, I put it. I got the pieces together from AI, but I put it together in Photoshop with some other bits and pieces. But it's like I just needed a picture to put on the Vic website to show them what was coming up.
I wish we had 2 hours to talk about that subject, but
Yeah,
we don't.
we don't.
And it's too deep.
Yeah,
But it is. How
Bears a conversation.
How can I say this? It's caused a great deal of thinking to occur
your end.
everywhere.
Oh,
but my
everywhere.
end in a big way. And
Right.
that's only ever a good thing, right? To engage with the subject and go through it and look at it from different angles and think about it and get some
Yeah.
shed some light on it.
If you're talking about actual thinking in a proper thinking way, definitely.
I'm talking about critical thinking
Yeah.
and
There
logic.
you go. There you go.
Yeah, yeah,
Great.
yeah, and pulling it apart. Anyway, we'll try not to talk about that too much.
Yeah. So anyone that doesn't like the poster, it's saying we're getting band photos done the day of the gig. So just bear with me. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine.
Oh, well, the good news is YouTube Studio has signed me out anyway, so we just changed all the passwords, so I don't actually know what it is.
Awesome.
Keep the people happy, Dan.
Awesome. Okay. Let's see. Right. Right. Nick's well and truly in the chat. Nick says, Swindon, is that the place with the magic roundabout? If so, I remember it driving me nuts. Yep. Oh, man. Yeah, Swindon. Wow. I'll tell you a quick story about Swindon. So I met my wife I was doing a gig at the Manly Boat Shed, and living in Manly, God's own country, had the harbour on one side, the surf on the other, was spectacular. And being a massive XTC fan, and we used to play loads of XTC tunes, because XTC were quite big in Australia. And I met this girl, and she used to play in a band with Barry Andrews. She's a singer, and gorgeous and everything. Anyway,
Best
thing
mate.
led to the best mate. So one thing led to another, and ended up going to London, and then we ended up in Swindon. And it's so weird that we ended up in Swindon, which is a very interesting place. 10 minutes in either direction is beautiful. Yeah, but the magic roundabout is confusing, and Teen's dad, Teen's grandfather, may he rest in peace, he used to be a taxi driver, and he'd say, I'd get to the edge of the magic roundabout and I'd just shut my eyes and floor it just to go across the silly thing. But yes, it's a weird thing, and people come from all over the world to see it. It's a bizarre thing.
Yeah. What's it called?
The magic roundabout.
Well, I need to do some research on this bitrate thing. It seems very odd because we do send a good bitrate. D&M, says Mark T. Hello, Mark T. I played my first gig in very hot weather. Next day, my guitar was like a science experiment gone wrong. Any tips for playing or maintaining instruments in hot and humid weather with lots of sweat?
Yes, make sure that you have... okay, if you've got your guitar in a case and you're coming from a hot room into a cold room, you need to leave it acclimatized for a bit. Don't change the temperature like drastically. So I don't know how long you'd normally give it, but I'd try to give it at least 15, 20 minutes so it comes up to temperature slowly. If you're in a very humid climate, then gel satchels, things that will absorb moisture. If you're in a really dry climate, you also need to think about it. So when I was studying, we had a double bass player, and it was like 200 years old, his bass, right? Amazing sounding thing. But we were in Mackay, which is North Queensland, and he would always cut up half an apple and leave it in with his bass in the case so that some moisture would sort of, and he had a monitor, and it was meant to stay at a specific moisture level. It's really interesting. So it works both ways.
Yeah, and there are commercially available products.
Yeah. Well, this is a long time ago.
Yeah, to
when
do
there was
that.
apples.
But you want to I would say wipe it down after the gig. So
Yep.
have a rag and just wipe the excess sweat off. And if you can be asked, actually clean it. But just wipe the excess sweat off, and then as soon as you can, when you get home, get it out of the case or gig bag, so that it doesn't sit in its own putrefied
Feculence.
mess. Unless that's what you want, of course, because that's all very good for aging and making the guitar feel worn in and played. It's not really a problem we have here in the UK.
No.
So gigs can get a bit sweaty, but you're normally freezing your nadgers off, wishing they would turn the air blower on, aren't you?
Not at the moment, though. It's absolutely glorious.
It is. I went to a barbecue with a load of old friends on Saturday. Weeks preceding Saturday,
Right.
glorious weather. Sunday onwards, a few scattered showers on Sunday, but generally good. Lovely today. Saturday,
Horrific.
actually,
Yeah, what's the weekend?
to be fair, we did get away with it. We didn't want too bad.
It's going to be great this week. Going to hit 30 again this week.
Is it? That's
Yep.
too much for me. I can't do it. My hands have started to explode.
Oh, I just love it.
I come up in rashes and then they all turn into scabs and...
Oh, I just, guitar, loud, dripping with sweat.
Oh, I don't mind that. Yeah.
Yeah, but in the heat, I love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Carl Longbottom. Hey, Carl,
Hey,
how are
Carl.
you, buddy? He says, I picked up a Supro Delta 10. What a fantastic little amp. For home use, I had the pleasure of meeting Brian Love on Saturday as well, a true gent.
Ah, yes, Brian is lovely.
Brian, among other things, works for Hampstead, who makes Dan's Red Wing Flanger. And Brian is a spectacularly good guitar player.
Yep.
On an epic level.
Yep. I nearly had to slap him around a bit when he was here recording that because he's too good.
Stand on his hands.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Nice to hear from you, Carl. Hope you're doing well, bud. Alex241. I'm playing through a boutique 5-watt Princeton clone into a 212 Mesa cab and was looking at the UA line for a more budget-friendly way to add plexi tones to my sound before buying a real one. What do you think? It sounded... We had Jack Griffiths in. It sounded pretty good.
Yeah. That's
But
my favourite of the bunch.
I would personally choose an analog option instead. Would be my personal choice.
Yeah.
We really like the Room 40 by Takalis Audio.
Room 40 is fantastic.
The one that keeps falling off. So if it still works, I'll be amazed.
Yeah. But even things like the Charlie Brown, the JHS Charlie Brown, and the that sounds great.
Yeah.
There's a couple of there's a couple of them in there. Who makes that?
This is a bit more expensive, but that's pretty
That's the one.
pretty decent.
Yeah, that's the one. That's like the actual preamp. So
Yeah. Okay, it's also important to say the environment in which you're playing. So if you're playing it into an amp
yeah.
that's already got a speaker and an output transformer, then adding all of that in addition with something like a digital modeling pedal might mean that you have to turn some of that functionality off, like the speaker simulation, for example. So if you're running it through an amp, we would always recommend, something analog. But if you are doing any sort of direct or front of house or anything like that, I think the digital modeling stuff is, what is it? It's like McDonald's. It's like food. It's really satisfying. But you'd rather go to a decent restaurant and have a chef cook you something really good.
It'll get you where you need to go.
Yeah.
But I think that's quite a good analogy.
And
People queuing up for it.
on my travels out and around watching gigs just recently, I've heard it a lot, and I've heard it coming through front of house, and it just sounds like garbage. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. I'm absolutely not sorry. It sounds like garbage. So please choose something analog. It sounds like garbage to me.
Yeah.
There you go. There's the qualification.
Yeah.
And I think if...
I also wonder, though, if a part of that is everyone in that world, the DI thing, and NES is just so isolated.
I've spoken to a number of friends just recently, and they've said exactly that. They've said they hate it,
Right.
but they need the money and they like the gigs.
Yes.
And exactly that, they feel isolated and separate.
Yeah.
And that's fine, because it's horses for courses, isn't it? If you are playing in a function band and what you need to do is make the wedding good and all of that, and that's what you do, and you get really good money for it, and that's the job, and then it's fit for purpose, isn't it? It's perfect. You cannot take a loud tube amp into that environment. It's not allowed.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's fine, and you know, if that gets the job done, I guess Dan and I are lucky enough to not be in it for that. That's not why we play.
Yeah, that's a really good point. We are lucky to not have to do that. And we're very, very fortunate.
We're lucky. I did 3 gigs in the last 4 weeks and I didn't receive a single penny for any of them.
But you got to play 100-watt Marshalls and
no
2
payment.
And...
So what do you want to do?
Yeah.
Do you want to play for free and enjoy yourself, or do you want to get paid loads of money and compromise? I think, is that where we are?
Yep.
Is that where we are? Yeah. And I know that comment will annoy a lot of people. And loads of people use it and do have to want to. Well, I don't know. I've never met anyone who wants to use it, but I have met lots of people who have to use it and make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're a pro guitar player and you rely on it to pay your mortgage and feed your kids and all of that, and that's what you have to do, then that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Dan and I, thankfully, are not in that world. Yeah. Victor Gustafsson.
Hello, Victor.
Victor says, feed hammers. Rotary pedals suck. We made a video called that, basically. He says, I took a punt. I have a Leslie. Never heard or played one. IRL. Oh my God, I'm speechless. All those tones since childhood are there. Yeah. And he mentions Little Wing. Yeah. The first time you hear one,
I'm meeting up with Matt Schofield tomorrow.
How are you?
And he's bringing me his vibratone.
Oh, wicked.
To look after.
Where are you seeing Matt?
Near Swindon.
Give him my love, will you? I haven't seen him for a long time.
I will do.
Yeah.
Bless him. We did that show.
He should come on the show
and
again.
He really should. He really should. But we did that show and I was just flipping out over that sound, and he got in touch. So I've got one that's at my parents' house that I just don't use.
Awesome.
You're welcome to hang on to it. And I'm like, really? He's like, absolutely. I'll drop it off to you on the way through.
Great.
Yeah,
Happy
really
days.
beautiful guy and one of the best guitar players in the world. I saw him in LA when I was there in January, and there's a few guitar players on. Corey Cognilio, who's amazing, and Josh Scott Smith every time, and Kirk got up and played. It was really great. Matt gets up with his 2-rock, 100-watt 2-rock, and he's the only guy that didn't have to push it. It was pushed and loud, but he didn't. It was like everything was exactly where he wanted it to be. The amps weren't caving in, and people trying to push it just to get a bit more out of it. He's
amazing.
Amazing guitar player.
At the thing that he does, he is undoubtedly the best.
Oh, he's the best at being Matt Schofield for sure.
That's kind of what I mean.
Yeah, but it's just, I was in awe. And what's really interesting is when he does that thing and the vibe is so good, and every single person left that place happier than when they walked in. And this is what I mean. I'm getting to the point where I'm really seeing the value in it and coming together as people going, music's pretty good, huh?
Analog, real and communal.
Yeah. Yep. There you go.
It's analog, it's real, and it's communal. It's arc.
Yeah. I like it.
It means something.
Yeah. Really
It
does.
means something.
It's important.
Congratulations on the Leslie, Victor, and what a lovely thing you have there. Chris Costabile. Hey, Chris, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Chris.
He says, please tell me with the SVT, we're in for a bass show. Dan on bass, Mick on lead bass, Rosie on bass synth. The big bottom show, it's time. We will. Actually, I put out a little Instagram clip just to say thanks to Freddie for dropping it off. You know what I mean. And a lot of people said, oh, please put the guitar through it.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people are of the opinion that it's just almost like a really great power amp for pedals and stuff. So we will do that.
That's a great idea.
I think what we should do is get the SVT, a Fender Bassman, and maybe something a bit smaller, and guitars through bass amps and see what we can uncover there. But it is awesome.
Ah.
I did a rehearsal with it on Thursday night.
Oh. I mean, of course it is.
It weighs 36 kilos. And I have to... our pub band is called 3 Lane Dash. And it's called 3 Lane Dash because to get to the rehearsal place, you have to run across 3 lanes of traffic.
That's brilliant.
So there I am with a 36 kilo SVT head, which doesn't have a top handle. So you have to hold it in 2 hands, hammering across this road, and then on a little trolley with the cabinet afterwards. It's like... and the rest of the band looking at me going like, what is wrong with you? And I'm like, no, this is what's right with me.
40 Watt Podcast says, wasn't the solo for Reeling in the Years famously recorded through a 300 watt SVT?
Mike Analog Man was getting very angry about this in the comments. Apparently, no, it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah. But that's what's said. Analog Mike, I think, thinks it's not, so we should expand on that and find out. Someone must know the story.
David Tompkins says, Paul Gilbert loves SVTs. Okay, I'm all in on that show.
If you don't love SVTs, there is something wrong with you, is all I'm saying. Yeah, it's just, honestly, there is nothing like it. When that thing's going and has got a bit of growl on it, and you just... everything moves. It's flipping
and
so good. And
the drummer has to give it some to keep up with that rumble.
Yeah, I mean, I was very careful because I think it's fair to say they're not a massively experienced band. Nobody's been playing that long. It's very much a bunch of enthusiasts getting together to have fun. So, including me, because bass is new to me, right? So I am deliberately careful.
Did you slap?
No, God, no. But every now and again, just give it like a, yeah, that's what that does. And it's awesome. I really want to get an 8x10, but I just can't. There's no way I'll be able to move it.
Yeah. What have you got now?
4.
Okay.
410, yeah.
But that's an amazing sounding cab, that thing.
Oh, it sounds killer. It really does. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I am going to get one of those... because I've tried various bass amps, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm going to get one of those Ampeg Venture... it's about that big.
Right.
And it's 1,000 watts or something.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get one, and I'm just going to see.
Do you remember...
Because my brain is saying it should be all right. But I know what the answer's going to be. But I am going to prove it to myself just to figure it out. Because if it does sound good, then it's that big and it weighs like 3 kilos.
Yeah. But...
or maybe 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what
I know what the answer's going to be, but you can't say what the answer is until you've done it properly. Yeah. Tested it. Hello, Rosie.
Do you remember years ago we had the first rehearsals with the that pedal show band, and Tiff came along for a jam. She had a great bass sound. It was a
that was a Fender Rumble.
It was a Fender Rumble.
300
she
watt
sounded
Rumble.
fantastic.
Yeah. And didn't she have a short scale bass as well?
Yeah.
Mustang
Great bass. She was a great bass player.
Yeah.
Great drummer, great singer. Groovy.
Dr. Friday says, SVT is for young dudes. I did it, but now it's my turn to get a roadie. I feel you. I've only moved it twice.
Is that a new one?
Newish one, yeah.
Yeah. Because Mark had one of those. They just, it's astonishing.
Yeah.
But he only pulled out for, like, big gigs. And he had his little bass Tiny Terror for rehearsals. I'm like, no. I get everything set up, and Dave and I go down and set everything up and make it sound epic, and this freaking Tiny Terror walks in. No.
CompuCorder64 says, yes, please. What about a V4B as the mid-size? They're awesome. Funnily enough, other friend Matt lent me a V4B for a minute. I used that for a few weeks. Really liked it. Just not quite loud enough, or at least not loud, not quite loud, clean enough. But I love the tone of it. Absolutely love the tone of it. Yeah, Marshall Major. Someone else says, I know. Fender Jeff. Hello, Fender Jeff.
Hello, Fender
Jeff
Jeff
says, thanks for an incredible video on Friday. Felt like a vintage TPS. What is a current or used but available tri-chorus pedal that you would recommend?
Free the Tone to a tri-chorus, which is incredible.
I would imagine it's not cheap, given the fact it's free the tone. Come on, focus.
But it's pretty amazing.
Oh, quite what's going on with this camera? I wonder if this lens is dying.
It's focusing on your shirt. There you go.
I wonder if that lens might be dying. It's really old. It's 10 years old, that lens. Yeah, that's a great one. Who else makes one? Someone else must make one. Behringer must make one for about 10p.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you see they won the court case against Bill Finnegan, I think?
No, Bill Finnegan won.
Did he? I just watched a video with Emily Thingy saying that Behringer had won.
Well,
No?
Behringer had to change their artwork
Right.
and re-release it.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
maybe I misunderstood. She said Behringer won.
yeah, maybe. Well, maybe I could be wrong. I'm sure we'll be told in a minute.
Put us right on that. This isn't a tri-chorus, but it really is exceptionally
It's magic.
not a million miles from that kind of sound. That's the Boss Dimension C, which we love very dearly, and to me doesn't sound like certainly doesn't sound like a C5, and it doesn't sound like a C2. It's very, very different sound from those things.
Yeah.
So that could be an option, even though it's not a strict tri-chorus.
So this is what they've had to change and call it the Centura and put Behringer at the top.
Right.
Right. The original one.
Because the case was passing off.
The original one didn't have Behringer on it.
Yeah.
So just for the people that don't know, this will be fun. Right. Pedal on your left is what they were doing originally. The pedal on the right is the new version, and you can see they call it the Centura. They've changed the graphic of the horsey dude, and they've got Behringer on top. And of course, in true internet style, the original versions of the Behringer are now going for silly money.
Yeah. Yes, Grayson Shishler says, Emily the Harpist did say Behringer won. I wonder if she's offering an alternative narrative on it then.
I mean, yeah. She probably is right.
Winning would be not having to change anything they lost, but without having to pay the bill. Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, all that, isn't it? It's a very interesting world, because obviously the legal argument is far removed from the ethical argument.
Oh, completely.
And, you know, there's no, I don't want to sound like too pious about it, but I know what I think about it ethically, and yeah, but most people don't care, do they? They just don't care.
No, but they care up to it. They care about it until it's like, oh, but
the price.
It's 40 quid.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Also, creatively, I mean, regardless of the ethics of the finances, which is one thing, the ethics of the creativity, I find and it's not even ethics. It's like, wouldn't you just rather do something original? I would.
Yeah, absolutely.
He said, playing in a cover band,
it would
trying to be Stevie Ray Vaughan.
It would be really interesting to truly understand the cost of ultra cheap manufacturing flooding market type thing. There's lots of different costs involved with that. But to the point where if it devalues creativity in that sense, and the unreal work that goes into some of these engineers and what they do. I mean, Bill Finnegan, that Klon design, completely unique, game changer. And he was just doing his own thing, and a few people, influential people, found it and went, this is what I've been looking for. He built it for himself, which is a really good indication of that stuff anyway. And it's a genius design. And he worked on it for a long time. He didn't just whip it together one night.
It wasn't just him either.
No,
other people
there's a
worked
couple
on
of,
it.
and really clever people. It's a astonishing design.
Yeah.
And I imagine how he feels seeing all these clones come out, and that's fine. But actually, with the Behringer one, I get it. It feels to me that has somehow crossed the line.
But have you seen the Maestro phaser? The phaser and all that.
Oh yeah, absolutely,
and everything else.
Oh, but I think for me though, that's what I'm saying. There are those things that do that, and they cross a line for me. Do they? Some people would argue, do they make those sorts of effects affordable for people who otherwise wouldn't try them? I don't know that I really buy that argument. I do know that it devalues a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you... It's an interesting concept, isn't it? If you go out and build a car that looks exactly like a Porsche 911... yeah, I'm not sure that analogy stands up. Anyway, there we are. I guess it doesn't matter. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. It simply is what it is.
John Pardo says, as the owner of a Behringer Poly D, I have to say no. I would never buy a Moog as a guitarist, so this is my gateway drug. Okay.
Yeah, that's often the argument put forward, isn't it? There's no way I could spend the money, so therefore it's okay to do this.
Yeah.
I.e., you're not robbing a sale from Moog is what you're saying, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Simon VR, no, Raffratus. Hello, Raff. He says, watching TPS on the beach. Tan and tone.
Nice. Oh, that's very good.
Oh, mate.
Tan your tone.
Nice.
TPS.
Simon VRDJ. Hey, Simon. He
Hey,
says,
buddy.
hi, you Schwang babies. 7 months ago, I asked if you consider trying to break the pedalboard record. You said yes. So is it still a yes? We are talking about it. This is the Guinness Book of World Records for the biggest pedal board ever existed, which was done by whoever it was done by. We've discussed it. And the reason we've discussed it is because we want to give all the pedals away afterwards. Because we need to give some pedals away.
Yeah. Yeah. We're keen. There are logistics and shenanigai and natural aversions to the above. However, it's something that we think would be a lot of fun. A lot of work goes into that stuff. But I think the idea is that somehow we work out a way to, once we do it, give the pedals away. Which is harder. It's harder to do than you think.
You coming up? Or do you need a wee-wee?
No, he's saying, Daddy, you come down.
Do you need a wee-wee?
Hey, you. Hi. Hi.
Do you need a wee-wee? Is that what it is? Yes.
Yes. Okay. Entertain the people. Okay, the Bible group says, can you recommend a budget PA system for use in a stereo guitar rig? Oh, that is really interesting. So having it's like a small PA, basically using as a full range amplifier. So I'm assuming you're using modeling or something. I mean, there are loads. I've actually just taken delivery of a Yamaha PA system, which sounds freaking amazing. There's lots of good the technology for the PA stuff has come along so much. So there's lots of really good options out there. You know, the Yamaha one I've got like 1,000 watts each speaker. I'm assuming you don't need that much, or maybe you do. But it's interesting, like in the 70s, there are some artists that would have the amp in the middle, take a tap from the speaker, send that out to stereo effects and stuff, and then it would end up going back through PA that they'd have on the stage as well. So wet, dry, wet with the PA. Very cool. Very cool thing. Yeah, that's fun. What else we got? Nick says, do you guys know how many pedals you now own? We have a database and it's a lot. Yeah, there are too many zeros after the number for our liking, and we need to do something about it. So yeah, I think we'll do it. Yeah, cool. Tyler Hall says you could find a cause to donate to and have a silent auction for pedals. Yep. Don't forget, charity begins at home. My home. No, kidding. I just love that gag. Right. So we are going to do something like that, but there's a lot of stuff to organise. The venue, you know, is it going to be part of something else? Yeah. So, but I'm thinking about it very seriously. I think it'd be really, really fun. Christopher Vincent says, could you recommend a spring reverb pedal more affordable and better than the Boss Fender 63 reverb pedal? Is that a compact one? I don't know. If you're talking about I think it is a compact one, like a real spring reverb. There's a few out there. I love the Carl Martin headroom. That's my favorite because you can have a couple of different settings in the spring. The Surfy Bear is obviously amazing. What's the French company that do the spring reverb?
Anna Sounds.
Anna Sounds. They are really great, and you can choose your tank that goes with it. Yeah. Hello, gorgeous.
Groovy. Sean Jeromelatos. Hey, Sean.
Hey,
Hope
Sean.
you're doing well, bud. He says, hi, Mick. I saw Davey Knowles in a small venue last week and he absolutely tore it up. Perfect example of loud is good. When the sound is good, you can tell he loves what he's doing too. Yeah, nice.
Man is
He's a killer player.
Legend.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant player. Nice to hear from you, Sean. Leo Hansel. Hi, Lee. Leo, he says, hi, guys. Long-time follower, first-time super chatter.
Oh, bless you, mate. Thank you.
Challenge suggestion. I love this.
Yes.
I love this. Rig for a two-piece. Best guitar tone that fills out the sound wins.
Ooh.
So, right, we'll do the challenge, but the other part of the challenge is the other person has to drum.
Yes.
So we can finally do the Shite Stripes.
Oh, we are so doing that. That is genius. Oh, well done, mate.
Leo,
I
thank
knew
you.
we bought that drum kit for a reason.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Okay, best rig for a two-piece. That is utterly killer.
That's going to be fun.
We should have a set list as well. Good. Non-aligned. Hello, non-aligned. If forced to choose, would you rather play a cover gig on an 80s Charvel or a 70s Hondo 3 Les Paul copy?
80s Charvel.
Every day of the week. Every day of the week. I would relish that.
Great guitars.
Yeah,
I've been thinking about going back to I've got all my dream guitars and my the couple of vintage pieces I've got and this thing and red and they're all great. I have been thinking about finding a Charvel, Floyd Rose, schwang-tastic.
When I'm bored doing stuff like grading video and drawing diagrams, I will get distracted by reverb.com.
Okay.
And I check the Andertons and the guitar and the Coda secondhand sections weekly just to see what's in there, just to get a feel for what's happening. And exactly that. When I see like a Charvel SoCal or something come up, I'm like, oh,
yeah,
because they're the sort of money you could spend and it wouldn't hurt too bad.
Yeah.
Or you could sort of hide it quickly.
Last time I was in Australia, I did a little sort of event masterclass thing at
Pedal Empire.
At Pedal Empire in Brisbane. Shout out to our friends at Pedal Empire in Brisbane, legends, all of you. And they had like a Jackson in there, and I just took it off the wall and I was like, oh my word, this thing is like, if I had figured out a way to get it home, I probably would have brought it home with me. But I think that will be my next purchase. A shred-tastic 15 again, me on the yellow gem going.
Quick one from Greg Archer. Greg Archer, if money was no object, what guitar would you buy?
Money was no object.
It'd either be a Burst or a 59 335 for me. Whichever was the better guitar in the hands.
The guitar Steve I used to play Crossroads.
Nice.
That's what I'd get if money was no object.
Wasn't that the Green Meanie?
No, I'd buy the Green Meanie. That's what I would buy. The Green Meanie. There you go.
Right. Jack, what was his name?
Jack Butler.
Jack Butler. Is that what you mean? That Crossroads?
Yeah. No,
Oh,
well, that's the guitar. Yeah.
it's a Jackson.
It's a Jackson. Yeah,
It's
there
a
you go.
red Jackson. Nice.
Yeah, awesome.
Nice. Yeah, but it'd be a Les Paul Standard from 1959 would be my number one choice, or a 59 335.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go past a really beautiful early Blackguard. I played a 52 when I was in Miami and went to Walt Grace Vintage, one of the best guitar stores and certainly the most unique guitar store I've ever been in my life. And they had a 52 in there that was 70 grand. And it is the best guitar I've ever played.
You should play Jake Loosemore's Nacho Caster. He's got a proper Nacho.
Oh, is it good?
I haven't played it yet, but everyone who I know who's had one or played one says that it is the closest thing.
Wow.
So it'd be interesting to see.
But does it say Fender on it?
No.
It says Nacho.
Yeah.
Whose guitar is this? Nachos.
Nacho's the guy that wrote the Blackguard book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be great, wouldn't it? 70 grand. They've gone up.
Oh, yeah. And it was a player.
I can remember when they were 30.
Yeah. No, it was astonishing. It was a player, but it was all original. Like everything was original on it.
Wow.
Man, it just sang.
Last in with the super chats this week is Fat Old Guy at 5,000 metres. Fat Old Guy at 5,000
brilliant.
metres says,
That's great.
which is more important, the guitar or the setup? Squire Strat with a great setup or any miscellaneous Fender?
It doesn't work without a setup. Now, but saying that, how bad is the setup? Like, it doesn't work if the strings
And
are
a
on
great
fret.
setup on a crappy guitar, equally uninspiring.
Yeah. You've got to... But
They're both quite important.
they're both quite important. So how bad is the other setup?
Yeah. Obviously, we've got to say setup, haven't we? Like, because no shade on Squires, especially the classic vibes. Well set up. Yeah. Very, very happy playing that. Badly set up American Standard. No, thank you.
Yeah, right.
No, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. Great question.
John Pardo says it was the Green Meanie on the recorded version. Yeah.
Nah, it's been years.
Andrew Jones is saying it would be Gilmore's Black Strat for him. Nice.
That sold for like £1 million, didn't it?
Don't know. Nick Granville agrees. 59,335. 40 watt podcast. 58 or 59 ES335 or 64 ES335. Johnny T would have the Fool, which is Clappo's painted SG that Todd Rundgren owned or owns.
Mm-hmm. Which Dave Gregory played the guitar solo for Supergirl on. Go and check that out. It is one of the best guitar solos ever.
Or EC's Brownie. Yep, nice. Nice. Troy Harmon wants Buddy Guy's Polka Dot Strat. Oliver Hutton wants Hank's Burns guitar.
Oh,
Awesome.
James
Blessed wants Kurt Cobain's acoustic from Unplugged.
Oh, okay.
Was it a Martin, wasn't it? Upside down? And didn't he play like a Lead Belly guitar for a minute? Or did he play a Lead Belly song?
I thought it was like a Fender with a pickup in it.
Okay. Nirvana Unplugged. You know what? We all credit Clapton Unplugged as rebirthing the Martin Guitar Company and starting the acoustic guitar revolution again. Surely Nirvana Unplugged must have had as much to do with it.
Yeah, let's see what it is.
That was my version of Kurt's. There you go. It's a Martin D28.
Is it?
Looks like it. It could be a D.
Oh, it's been
Could be a D35.
Yeah.
Could be a 35. Well, from here it could be an 18 to be fair, but it's a Martin Dreadnought anyway, which has been made into an electric guitar with pickups and knobs. I should show the people, shouldn't I? Just abuse, get the images copyright for a second. There he is. Bless him. Another person who, without doubt, made electric guitar what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
For a whole generation. Okay, let's dump. It's apparently Eddie says it's a 1959 D18E, unless you are talking about the guitar you would buy if money was no object. But we think it might be a Martin D18E. I didn't realise they did an 18E in 1959, but anyway.
It was 1959 Martin D18.
Yeah, there we are.
Wow.
There we are. I didn't know they did a D18E in 59, but maybe they did. Groovy. Okay, we'll head into the chat then for the remaining moments.
Oh, Christian Handy says, for me, it was Pearl Jam's Unplugged set.
Yeah.
I tell you who else. So XTC did the first MTV Unplugged.
No.
Yep. And I think it's because Andy didn't want to do the whole thing electric. He said, I'll do some songs with the acoustic. So they're credited with that. But also, I remember seeing the Cure MTV Unplugged thing. It is incredible. That's the first time I heard the Cure and went, actually, these guys are amazing. Because when they were big, when I was at school, there are a lot of girls in my year who were really into them and did all the black hair and all the makeup, and I just looked at them and went,
Goths is the word you're looking for.
They're looking for goths. So goths. I was like, there was the Venn diagram with they were over there and I was here, and there was nothing.
Exactly the same.
Yeah. And that kind of, there was a barrier between me and that music because I just couldn't identify with the people who are into it until I heard MTV Unplugged, The Cure, and I was like, "You're a genius. You're an absolute genius."
Yeah. Yep, same story. Chris Turner says, ever notice on the Nirvana Unplugged gig, Kurt is wearing a replica of a green cardigan that James Taylor used to wear on stage? I don't think it was a coincidence. Really?
Wow.
He's seen fire and he's seen rain. Oh.
Oh, Drippin' Wax says Jimmy Page's Dragon Telly. That would be unreal. Also, Jeff Beck's Telly.
The Telly Gib.
The Telly Gib. The one that Seymour
Duncan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
Scott Curry says Mix 61 Strat.
I think if money were no object, Scott, we could find you a slightly nicer one than that.
I don't know, dude.
It's a great guitar.
Still the best Strat I've ever heard.
A non-refin, straight up. Yeah.
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 But there's no, like, when you've
No
heard a
shade,
guitar like
no
that,
shade.
when you heard a guitar like that, it's like, you know what you're getting.
Yeah. I played it on Wednesday night. She was really nice. Played
Yeah.
for the first bit of the set.
Killer guitar.
And then Les Paul for the rest of it. Lode Van Newton wants to know, why do most guitarists prefer tremolo pedals over onboard tremolo in the amp? Guthrie Trapp, for example, uses a T-Rex Tremster, even though he uses a Fender Pro Reverb with a great onboard tremolo. That's a really good question.
Really good question.
I think I know what the answer is.
Okay, I'm going to suggest convenience.
Yeah.
Because to activate the trem of the amp, you've got to run an external foot switch back to the pedal board, and it's just another cable you've got to run. If it's in your pedal board, it's there. You're ready to go.
After that, so I think there are some practical reasons that Dan's talking about, and in addition to that practical reason, so many of those amps, the tremolo doesn't work properly, or the foot switch socket is broken.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get supplied something backline, you just can't be sure that it's going to work.
Yes.
That's number one. Number two, it might be that whoever it is, Guthrie, for example, might want something that tremolo doesn't offer. So he might want a slightly different wave shape, or he might want a bit less depth or more speed or less speed. You know, it could be something that he kind of likes it, but he prefers a different version of it. So could be sonic. I think I'm going with Dan that it's likely to be predominantly practical.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say you do a gig somewhere and you get a Hot Rod Deluxe. No tremolo.
XTC did not perform on the very first episode of MTV Unplugged, which aired November 26, 1989. The first episode features Squeezer's Glenn Tilbrook and Chris Difford, along with Sid Straw and Elliot Easton from The Cars, while XTC did perform acoustically in May 1989.
Thank you.
That is before November 1989. Thank you very much. According to This Day in Music, it wasn't part of the official Unplugged series, but it came, yeah. So my point being, it came before, and apparently they were the inspiration for it. But yeah. When I talked to Dave about it, it's like yeah. It's a real moment in time.
Thomas Edwards says, have you ever thought about having John Squire on the show? Absolutely, we have. And
I've asked many times.
We've asked, yeah, but I'm not sure John's really into doing stuff like that pedal show.
No.
He has done a couple of things, but I'm not sure it's really his thing. I don't want to speak on his behalf, but...
Well, he did a new album with Liam, didn't he?
Yeah.
Liam Gallagher?
Yeah, so you never know. It could happen. Backer Jacob says, I've never thought about this till now. Would acoustic wet dry be a nice thing? Never thought about it until now. Yeah, why not? I would assume that was, quite a lot of the acoustic electric sonic pioneers, people like Michael Hedges, obviously John Martin, the Australian dude, what's his name? Butler, John Butler,
Yeah.
etc., etc. There's quite a lot of people. Eric Roach, the much missed Eric Roach, and I'm sure there's plenty of others who I'm not mentioning. I'm sure that was part of their world, would have been, without them going, oh, I want a wet dry rig. Probably some version of signal splitting and effects going to different places probably would have been exactly that.
Yeah.
But yeah, why not? John Fruin, bless you, mate. He says Harmonious Monk has 2 switchable speeds. Does it for me? Tremolo wise.
Oh, bless you.
Cheers, bud. Thank you for buying one.
Joe Fonseca says Brian May's Red Special. I would love to have a go on that guitar.
Yeah.
Just because I don't really have, you look at a Strat and a telly, you go, you've got an idea what that's going to feel like. I just want to know what that guitar feels like.
Yeah. I can't believe I've never played it, because he was a good friend of Guitarist magazine, but it was Neville and Simon Bradley who sort of had the relationship with Brian, so they would always go off and do the Brian things.
Oh, get Neville to have a word.
Yeah, they were good friends for a while. Yeah.
So Ivan Z says, I heard Jeff Beck's Strat. Lukather played it on a Toto concert. It was amazing. I saw the footage of that. Very, very special. I really hope we get the opportunity to get Steve Lukather.
That would be just killer.
Because I'm doing and we've done Toto tunes in TPS, and doing a Toto song in the Danalogs, and he had such a really interesting musical way of looking at harmony, and he's the most un-guitar-y guitar player, because he could do all the stuff, right? But then he would just go left and just go somewhere that's like, now I'm Dizzy Gillespie for a bit, and now I'm back to shredding your face off, and now I'm Charlie Parker. Amazing.
Yeah, amazing. If anyone is wondering why we don't have some people on, there's some comments saying, why haven't you had blah 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 blah. We have like an open invitation policy, so anyone is welcome to come on that pedal show. The thing that we come up against is we are in the middle of nowhere, and quite often with artists, if they're in the middle of a tour or whatever, particularly if they're traveling internationally, it can be quite tough to get them here, and it just doesn't fit. So that's usually why we can't make it work. Similarly, we do get asked if we want to go and do rig tours, and every now and then we'll do them, but
it's tricky because there's a lot of what was the word that was used before?
Yeah, I know what you're gonna. It's a lot of hassle.
It's a lot of hassle
and a lot of cost, and that's not why we do them. I think one of the reasons I'm not a massive fan of them is because they probably already exist somewhere else, Premier Guitar or elsewhere, and you always come back with an okay result, in my opinion. Now, don't get me wrong. We have done them and we will continue to do them. So if someone asks us to go and do a rig tour and we can make it work and all the rest of it, let's say if we were to do a rig tour in the next few months, for example, we would absolutely, with open arms.
That would be an incredible opportunity.
We would enjoy doing it, wouldn't we? And so yeah, it's not saying we don't do them, but what we like is for people to come here because we can control it. We know what's going on, and it puts that person in a relaxed frame of mind, and also it feels less like a press thing. Yeah,
because
with no disrespect
we're
to
hanging
press
out,
things, but I
we're
did
having
it
a
for 20
chat,
years.
and we get, definitely.
Yeah. So we like them to come here if they will, but we do understand that it is a giant pain in the backside to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah. Chris Dittman says, "What's the first thing you play when you grab a guitar?"
This. Just a tune.
Yeah. I play this, and then usually So yeah, a chord, usually a G chord with the extra note on it, the D. Oh, that's nice.
There.
Yeah.
You gotta get this guy. You gotta get this, then.
Yeah, I don't like that so much.
Oh,
That
but
one I like.
that's the resolution. It's perfect.
Yeah, no, I get it as a passing chord, but that chord, the last chord, is happy
Yeah.
and just like, this is good.
Yeah.
The last chord you played, the passing chord with the discordant and the we're on the way to somewhere, is I know what I'm doing and I'm going to show you.
I just like a part of.
Are you doing any bossa in the set?
No.
The Dan from Ipanema. Actually,
Ladies
on
and
that,
gentlemen.
why don't we? I think we should play you out. On yeah, Dan's going to play you out with some bonkers balmy bossa on this Monday evening. You know what it needs, don't you? It's just not right. I'll do it. I'll put some bass in, and we can use AI to loop it. What key are you in?
D.
B.
D
Oh right.
to E. Then E to A. Back to D. F. A flat. E flat. E. A. D. That was awesome. That was awesome. Oh, that's fun.
Right, I played bass, now I've got to play the shaker. Play us out, Dan. Tell you what, put new strings on the bass. I like it. Come on. Hello, Rosie. You going to play the shaker? Right, the Dan from Ipanema. Hit me. We'll see you Friday, people. Friday's show is going to be a show with Simon Jarrett, talking all about dynamics and pick sensitivity from the guitar, which is amazing, as you can imagine. And remember, you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And remember, was it? You need to keep both feet on the wheel. Don't go changing.